It's been nearly a year since the most recent tornado to strike Vilonia. The signs of spring are a comforting sight, even as they're harbingers of a tornado season on its way. Vilonia is still recovering from the EF4 tornado that killed 8 people and destroyed 159 homes the previous April. This spring, no amount of flowers or grass can obscure the destruction that still hangs over this town. Trees are twisted and bare. Debris sprinkles fields. Then come the lonely slabs of barren concrete where businesses once stood. However, the town is showing signs of progress amidst the ever-present reminders of tragedy. Vilonia United Methodist Church sits at the corner of Main Street and Church Street. The tornado leveled the basketball gym the church had converted into its place of worship when it outgrew its original sanctuary. With insurance money, the church is rebuilding. After holding services in a trailer for several months, the church moved into its new home on February 22nd. "We're grateful," said Nathan Kilborn, Reverend of the church. "Without volunteerism, this community, and faith, we wouldn't be where we are today." Amy Tucker is a lifelong resident of Vilonia. Emerging from their shelter after the most recent twister, Amy, her husband Clint, and their 2 oldest kids, aged 9 and 11 years old, immediately volunteered in the town's recovery effort. One day, as Amy and her husband were driving through town, she said, "There's nothing in Vilonia right now. We ought to build a little restaurant." They began building in August and opened in November. Amy quit her job in Conway and came full circle, working back in her hometown. Upon opening, Tucker hired local high school student Lauren Morrow. Morrow was severely injured during the tornado after being thrown 100 yards from her home. She's made a full recovery with plans to attend the University of Central Arkansas in the fall. The Tucker's restaurant is a post-tornado triumph, but it's the town's only new business. In the Parkwood Meadows subdivision, 55 of the 56 houses were completely destroyed, with the other receiving significant damage. Because Vilonia received its first tornado warning 41 minutes before it hit, most of the residents at Parkwood Meadows took shelter in the safe room at nearby Vilonia High School. The Wassam family decided to stay and took cover in their hallway where Daniel, 31, shielded his wife and 2 daughters. His family survived, but Daniel did not, as their home was wiped out by the tornado. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Daniel's dad was sitting there with his son's body on that slab, holding his hand until the coroner came. Despite early fears that people would leave Vilonia in droves, City Mayor James Firestone said that he doesn't know of any long-term residents that left and that the enrollment of the school district is actually up. With no one leaving and a population growth, Firestone is using the tornado as motivation to look toward the future. A movement called Rebuild Vilonia has a concept and designs for a town square that would include a farmer's market, a park, retail, and eventually some residential areas to account for future growth. Still, the threat of another tornado looms. Plans for Vilonia include storm shelters placed throughout the city, clearly marked as designated safe areas. They're opting for several small shelters instead of one large shelter. "It was a very unfortunate thing," said Firestone. "We could sit back and say, 'Oh, woe is us. Everybody's going to move away.' But we've still got people here because they want to be in Vilonia."